I was also reading that people are just too fat to serve in the military now. That 70% of people between 17 and 24 who try to enlist cannot enlist in the military because
You're going to have to change the standards.
They're unfit.
You know what I mean?
You've got a president who's unfit to serve, and so now you've got guys who want to serve their country but are physically unfit.
Don't they do like a fat boot camp or something to try and get them into shape?
I thought. Listen,
Well, I mean, they do a boot camp. So if you
No, I
are
thought there was
fat,
like if you were specifically fat, like there was like you do the fat one, the weight loss one to get into shape first, and then
they might have some kind of
Yeah.
program that if you want to get into the military and you're overweight, that they might have some kind of camp you can go to get yourself there.
a boot camp.
Yeah.
They should do that.
But I mean, at some point, if we get into another war, which is likely at some point, and they need to have a draft again, beggars can't be choosers.
yeah.
We're going to have to be, we'll be a big force to be reckoned with out there.
A bigly force out there fighting the. Yeah.
I do think the standards are pretty strict right now, though, as far as weight to get into the military. Like, I think it's a little too strict at the
Well,
moment.
listen, I think you should have fit people if they're in the military. I mean, it's
For sure, but if
grueling work, you know? I mean,
I get that you want them to be fit because they need to be able to fight. I'm just saying, upon entry, I think some people could be a little bit more overweight, and then they can kind of.
I don't even mean
foster
fit to
that.
fight. A lot of guys never see any action. I'm talking about you got to jog with 50 pounds on your back and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
you know? And if you can't jog at all, that's not good.
Yeah, but how often are you actually jogging in a fight?
I don't
I
mean
know,
a, I don't mean a
but even
fight.
then,
You know
like,
what?
yeah.
What's going to happen is
It's gonna be robots fighting anyway.
America's going to get.
It's going to be Starship Troopers before you know it. It's going to be giant bugs instead of Al Qaeda and ISIS.
No, we'll just revert back. America's going to be too fat to like run around in the woods and fight people, and then we're going to rub off on other countries with our fatness. So then we're just going to go back to muskets, and you just walk in a line and just shoot from a close range.
I'll tell you why I think this might not be, like Bill said, robots. That's why it might not be a big deal, because all these dudes that are too fat,
Oh, it's a big deal.
it's a big deal. But if you're too fat because all you've been doing is updating your incel blog, these guys are going to become drone pilots or whatever anyway.
Right.
You can be like, hey, we're not sending over real guys anymore.
You'd sit there, eat a bag of Cheetos while you fly a drone over a country and bomb it.
I believe I already solved this problem last week.
With?
You solve a lot of problems, so it's hard to keep track.
Clones.
Clones.
But then you wouldn't want to clone your fat clone.
No,
Like,
we
you
clone. We get someone. We take LeBron James, make a bunch of clones of him. He's a
And have the
physical
him fight?
specimen. Yeah, no one's gonna mess with that army. Getting dunked on
An
while
army
you're
of
getting shot.
Okay,
LeBrons.
but
Yeah.
to your point of how often do you jog in a fight? How often do you dunk in a fight?
A lot more than you jog.
Really?
Being able to jump
dunking
and,
all
and
over that
block
guy.
things and being able to
Would the
Just
clones
a-
be blocking missiles, or
yeah,
what would
just-
they be blocking?
They just be
Bullets?
jumping up in the air and just slapping missiles out of the
But
sky.
Wow.
you're creating other problems though. Conspiracy theory for you, because what if the clones are just like, "What? I ain't fighting that
No,
white
we
man war.
genetically engineer
I don't want to
them.
die."
You put
And-
you don't know anything about clones. You put a chip in their brain so that they can't have free thought.
Whatever.
LeBron
No,
James.
They're
but
like,
that
"I
you
don't
get
wanna
into
die."
a lot of existential issues with that.
Then they push you out, and they're like, "Wait, no, I'm the real clone," or like, "I'm the real person," and they're like, "No, you're
All
a
right. Well,
clone."
we know that these aren't LeBron James. They're not the real LeBron James because they'll have hair.
We'll give them full heads of hair.
Right.
It's supposed to be an exact clone, so they'll have baldness too.
No. Well, we can modify it so that
We'll
they
edit
will-
that out of
yeah.
the gene,
We'll edit that
so
out.
he'll have a full. I mean, he'll have like an Eddie Griffin undercover brother hair. Is
Exactly.
What he'll
A
have.
Kaepernick afro.
Yes, the hair we're trying to get Pound Cake to get.
I'm not doing
That's what the LeBron clones
Yeah,
will
how's
have.
that coming along?
Of course, you put a chip in their brain so you can control them. Everybody knows that.
that. Okay, sure.
Here's the problem with the LeBron clones: is
Okay.
wherever we station them.
This better be a real problem, not like Pound Cake had.
I think it's a real problem. Wherever we station the LeBron clones, eventually he'll want to leave every one of those cities.
He's got to take his talents to a different war, you know?
That's right.
We're taking our talents to Vietnam.
Yeah. So I'm all for the LeBron clones.
All right.
I think it's a good
You think
idea.
he'd sign off on it?
I absolutely not. unless you could call them all Bronny. Then he'd sign off on it.
No, because he didn't even like naming his son Bronny.
Right.
Yeah, well, in retrospect, he didn't.
And they're clones. They don't need names. The numbers.
That's horrible.
I
They
don't
have
know.
serial numbers.
I don't know how
They're
only.
created people. They're not real people. They
No,
weren't
but you're going to
born.
need. But these are
They'll
what,
have real minds.
among all the art.
That's what the chip in the brain is for. Damn, are you guys not even listening
real
to me?
hearts. Bill.
Among all full eyes, clear hearts. What is it? Clear eyes,
lose.
full hearts.
Can't lose.
Right. Among all the other arguments with artificial intelligence is that when they become self-aware, then you have to worry about you're going to have a code of ethics and conduct for clones and robots. They'll be essentially human-like enough where, you'll have to treat them like such. You can't just make them into butlers and soldiers.
Yeah, and do they have feelings?
can.
Are they afraid?
I don't know.
Would they
No,
fall in
that's-
love?
All that stuff is handled by the chip that is in their
You're
brain.
really putting a lot of your eggs in the chip basket.
It's an important part of it.
But what if
but
the
it's a
chip
duh.
malfunctions?
Well, that's when you got to take them out. You get a malfunctioning clone, you just throw it in the
Just
incinerator.
What
imagine.
if they all malfunction at once and attack and start a revolution?
Then we have other clones that are made of, we'll say, Kevin Durant to come in and wipe those
Then we get
clones
the
out.
Steph
Yeah.
Curry clones come
Yeah.
in, and the LeBron clones will be no more.
Instead of Peter, we're just gonna have Peth. So it's just gonna be like the protection of humans.
The
So
Steph Curry clones won't be very.
They're not humans, they're
useful.
clones.
They'll just chew on their mouth guards and whine.
But they will be
That's
humans
still
because they're
human.
clones. Dolly the sheep was still a sheep,
Nah, she
and
wasn't.
they cloned her.
it's a
What was she?
manufactured sheep.
It's a clone.
No.
clone sheep.
Listen, in vitro fertilization is
All right,
manufactured people too, but they're still real people.
Test tube babies.
You
a-
manufacture the means of production, but it's still real people.
Is that a print of a painting? A painting?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It is a reproduction, but
Right.
it is in and of itself
But
a
it's not
paint-
the original.
You didn't say original.
Okay.
You said, is it a painting?
It's not a
It
painting,
is.
it's a print.
Yeah, it's a print.
Not a painting. There's no paint on the
All
ting.
right.
And a reproduction of anything. It's a reproduction. It's not the original.
It's not the same
so
thing.
the war between the originals and the clones could happen at some
That's-
point.
but a painting-
But will there be-
In the
but there-
meantime, we don't have to worry about fat soldiers because we got very in shape clones
Because of the chip.
because of the chip.
All right.
That chip's going to malfunction in 2 seconds.
And not to mention, they try to gut the chip program every couple years. These kids and their health insurance.
Different chip.
I don't know. Oh, different
Yeah.
chip? It's not the child health insurance program that we're
No,
putting
no,
in
no,
clones'
no, not
heads?
that one.
No.
Oh, well, you want healthy clones. And I assume they'd start as children. Or no?
Or
They're-
you grow them in an incubator.
Oh.
Like it goes from like incubator to like a tube that grows their muscles and everything.
Okay.
really
Yeah.
have this worked out.
Well, he's thought it
I
through.
watched a lot of
He's-
movies.
He's solved a lot of problems. I always feel bad for the kid when they find out that he, as a young man, was pleasuring himself in the incubator. Because they're going to call him all kinds of names.
Kinkubator.
Incubator, masturbator, whatever it is. It's not going to be.
Hey, we gotta do a new YouTube thing.
No.
Yeah, just do it.
No.
Just do it.